Good morning, everyone. I want to make another how to beat tutorial today, and I thought we'd talk about Claudio. Claudio was near the top of my online tier list that I made for online matches. It was one of the more controversial statements I made in that video, but I think he is very strong, especially in the online environment, and he's one of those characters that I myself really struggle against sometimes. So I just wanted to make a video here talking about how to go through these generic Claudios that you see online a lot. Something that I reiterate at the beginning of all of these videos is that these are not going to be tips for how to beat like a high level Claudio expert, because that's going to come down to like fundamentals and deep character knowledge. It's more about being in the slightly lower ranks and playing against all of those players who rely more on the exploitative aspects of the character. So let's jump into it. I've split this up into three sections because I think there are basically three basic things that online Claudios do. And so the first thing I want to talk about is his hopkick. This is very, very important. When we talk about Claudio, it's his most important move overall. A lot of characters have 15 frame hopkicks. This is also 15 frames. The reason Claudio's hopkick is exceptionally dangerous, there are a couple of things about it. So the first one is that it has exceptionally long range, so it will launch comfortably from ranges where normal hopkicks wouldn't. There's no way, for example, from just this range that you would be able to hit with, Kazumi's hopkick, for example. And then the two other aspects of the move is, first of all, if you look at Claudio's body when I do this hopkick, he almost doesn't move forward whatsoever, which is very unique. Most hopkicks cause the character to jump forward, which means that after the move gets blocked, the opponent will be right here in his opponent's face, which means that it's very easy to block punish the move. The fact that Claudio has long range and doesn't move forward coupled together mean that he usually is kind of tricky to punish when he gets his hopkick blocked. It's even the case that sometimes for example, if I blocked a Claudio hopkick at long range with Miguel and I tried to use my 10 frame block punisher, my 1-2, that would almost completely whiff on Claudio, and then what he does is he just does another hopkick and then you get launched anyway. So that's one thing. And then the other thing about the move is that if you look at his head, he bops down for a little bit at the beginning of the animation. And this is something that a lot of hopkicks have. They are designed to be low crush moves, meaning that they jump over lows. But because when human beings want to jump into the air, we first need to sort of bend our knees a little bit so that we can spring up and jump. And in order to make the jump animation look natural in Tekken, they've implemented this, meaning that a lot of hopkicks have a small window where they will actually go under highs as well. The thing with Claudio is that window where he's able to go under highs is exceptionally high. It's exceptionally long, and so this move, if he just gambles on it a lot of the time, he can, he's going to get a launch. If he goes under a high, he's going to get a launch if he goes over a low, and even if he does get blocked, he might get away not getting block punished. And so it's a very safe sort of option for Claudio to sort of gamble on a lot. And yeah, I think, if you look at, for example, the main man, when he played Claudio for the first time on his channel, he got to pretty high ranks basically doing this hopkick over and over and over again. And when he got a launch, he could combo for damage, but when he got blocked, unless his opponent was, sharp and experienced and, knew how to punish it properly, he got away with it so much of the time that in the end he ended up, winning a lot more than he lost. And so that's Claudio's hopkick. The other thing I want to talk about in this first section when we talk about the hopkick is that you have two lows that you have to look out for when you play against Claudio, and so he's going to mix up those two lows and this hopkick, and that's going to come in like a package of 3 moves that you're going to see a lot. And the first low I want to talk about is sidestep 4. I should mention, by the way, before we leave the hopkick, that this hopkick is minus 13 on block. That's very important. Almost all hopkicks in the game are somewhere in the region of minus 12 to minus 13. Minus 13 is slightly worse, but not really. I mean, be honest with yourself. How often do you have a 13 frame block punisher that's better than your 12 and you actually apply it instead of the 12 when a move is minus 13? It's kind of rare, but if you are good at that kind of thing, then be aware that he is at minus 13. The important thing is that you punish him with something that hurts. So if you have something powerful for 11, 12, or 13, it's very, very important that every time you block this hop kick that you try and punish him. Because if you let him get away with just doing this hop kick over and over, he's almost, unbeatable, because he's just going to keep on gambling on it, and then he's going to get the damage and win, right? So this move needs to get block punished. It's very, very important. And so it's great if you happen to be playing a character like maybe Lars 424 is very good for this. Gigas 1-2 is very good against this. But find your best block punishment option for this hop kick. Learn to remember this sound, which he always makes when he does the hop kick, and then block punish it correctly every single time. And now you've gotten very far along the way to doing better against Claudio. But back to sidestep 4. Sidestep 4 is an exceptional low. I think it's a little bit better than it needs to be, actually. The reason this low is good is, well, it comes out of a sidestep, which means that it is sort of slowish. But the actual move animation itself, let's see here, is 20 frames, which means that it is basically unseeable. So you can react to the low. If you're going to block it, you have to react to the sidestep. Problem being that hop kick is another common option at a sidestep, right? So this creates a mix-up. Claudio can sidestep and get a mix-up. So he can sidestep and do the 4, and he can sidestep and do the hop kick, and so you don't really know, which option you should look out for. The low itself does 20 damage and actually sparks on normal hit, which I think is, for a move like this, very high. It's high damage. The range and tracking are both exceptional, so you can see from out here, I can still hit with the move. So this is an amazing low. And the fact that it does that 20 damage means that it's dangerous enough that you're going to try and block it, which means that it becomes a powerful mix-up for the hop kick. So when Claudio is sidestepping, most of the time this low is what's going to come out, and so you can try and be aware of that and block it. But if you do, you're liable to get hop kicked, which is dangerous. When you do block sidestep 4, it is only -11, which is another reason why I think this move is maybe a little better than it needs to be. -11 is very low. It means that the only thing you're ever going to get if you block punish it is a while standing 4 for almost all characters. While standing 1 for Gigas maybe, and a couple of other exceptions, which usually does not lead to a lot of damage or knockdown or anything. Maybe if you're playing, Leo and you have an exceptional 11 frame while standing punish, that's good, but otherwise the potential reward for actually blocking this move is exceptionally low, and so that's another reason why I think it sort of feels very it's not very satisfying to win in this mind game situation against Claudio, because you usually don't end up getting all that much damage. It's not like you're going to launch him or anything, So yeah, be aware that the hop kick is common out of the sidestep as well, and it's mixed up with sidestep 4, and that's dangerous. And this happens a lot. Claudio sidesteps around a lot and does this. And then the other low I want to mention here in this section is down back 3. Down back 3 is an exceptionally common round ender for Claudio. It's basically his version of Horong's Firecracker, and when we talked about Firecracker in the Horong video, I said, it was the first move I brought up because I said it's the first move you're going to see. This is like what bad Horongs do at the beginning of the first round almost every time. And it's very common to see Claudios open all of the rounds, or at least one round in 3 with this down back 3. The reason for that is, just like Firecracker, you can see that it has exceptional range. It goes under highs, it does a chunk of damage, and then if you counter hit with it, you get a launcher. So it's very similar to Firecracker from Horong. Difference being that it's 1 hit instead of 2, which I actually think is probably even better. So yeah, this move is very, very common at the beginning of the round. Because it has such good range, it can be dangerous to try and hop kick this from a spaced out position. So when you're at the beginning of the round, when you're in this position right here and he does down back 3, your hop kick or your low crush option might not reach, but you might have some other good option you could use there. For example, with Miguel up forward 3-2-2, it's going to work perfectly. And so a lot of the time when I play against a Claudio, I actually just open a round with that string. I go over the low and I get a lot of damage, because it turns out I'm right like half the time. But yeah, this low, in terms of like impact frames, it's 24, which is slow enough that it is like theoretically reactable, but If you're able to see it and block it, that's very, very good. You're going to get minus 17 on block, meaning that with very few exceptions in the roster, you can always launch punish it. So if you're able to react to this visually, that's obviously the best way to deal with the move. But otherwise, yeah, it's very, very dangerous. And just like with Horng's Firecracker, doing like a 1 and 2 at the beginning of a round is dangerous, because what's going to happen is Claudio goes under the first hit and then he counter hits the second hit, and I think he actually gets pretty good damage off of this. Yeah, he can get like between 65 and 70, which is very, very high, so it's a dangerous move. So that's the first little package I wanted to talk about. Claudio sidesteps into sidestep 4. He does a lot of hop kicks, even in just random situations. He does it as a panic move, he does it as a whiff punisher, he does it as a block punisher, he does it as a mix-up out of sidestep, and so you have to block the hop kick, and when you do, you have to block punish it. That's so important. And then another super common abuser below that he can use for sort of a mix-up with the hop kick is the down back 3. This is also his most generic round opener, and it's just a a high crush low that he does a lot of the time. Best option is to learn how to visually see and block it low, but that's hard. So as with all moves like this, if you're just applying a lot of fast mids, like in Claudio's case, back 3 would probably be the best option. You can keep your opponent honest, you can knock them back up to a standing position when they're trying to apply these high crush lows, and that's a very good tool as well. Okay, so that's the first little package I wanted to talk about. Now we're going to move on, but the moral of the story so far is that this hop kick is very, very cheap. And you have to learn how to comfortably block punish it. So if you don't already, go into practice mode, set Claudio to do this hop kick, try out the different options that you have for your character and find out what feels the most comfortable. If you can get a knockdown, that is obviously very, very good, but you need to at least deal enough damage that it's going to start deterring him from abusing the move. That's the main goal. Alright, the next little package I want to talk about, the next little chapter in the anti-Claudio book, is going to be running 2. It's the second thing I feel we see Claudios do all the time. Running 2 is another exceptional move. It's very, very good. The main thing about it that I think is crazy is that it does 40 damage. There are very few single hit moves in this game that will do up to 40 damage, and like a normal chunky knockdown move will normally have something like 20 to 25, and if it has upwards of 30, that's very high. And Claudio just casually collects 40 here, which is so big. The move has it's very explosive. It covers an extreme amount of ground in a very short time, and it comes out very fast. So the range and the impact frames are very, very good, and so that's what makes the move super dangerous. The other thing that makes the move super dangerous is that he gets plus frames on block. I think plus 7, which means that you can't just stand block it either, because then you're just in another powerful mix-up situation, and Claudio does really well when he can get plus 7. So that's dangerous as well. And basically the way you need to deal with this move is you need to duck it, and then that becomes a little bit of a challenge because he has mix-up options, which is what I want to talk about next. But let's record my opponent doing this move once for now, like that, and just show the duck in action. Okay, click play here. Yeah, and then I don't know what you do for a combo with Claudio here. It doesn't really matter, but let's try something. Maybe do this. Or whatever, you get a combo. So you gotta duck this move. It's because the hitbox is sort of extended if you look at this. Okay, I didn't time it very well there, but what I want to try and show you here is you can attempt to duck this move, and excuse me, if you stand up too quickly, you're basically going to eat the move anyway. You can't like twitch really fast. You need to sort of chill for a little bit and really see the move before you apply your while standing punish. That's kind of important, otherwise you're going to eat it anyway. But yeah, that's running 2. It's very, very dangerous. It does a lot of damage. It's risky to try and like sidestep it, so usually the best option is to try and duck it, but then he has these mids that we're going to talk about next. So the main mix-up that Claudio is going to use when he runs at you from a distance is 4-4-4. This is a very good long-range mid that becomes a perfect mix-up option for his running 2. The main reason for that being that it is both mid and safe. It's a very safe move for Claudio. He is at -4 on a block, which is not that much at all. And when he gets a hit, he gets powerful knockdown, 20 damage, he gets Oki, and if he's at the wall, he even gets the wall splat like I just showed you. So that's the main mix-up option. So when Claudio is in a spaced up position, you have to assume that he's thinking about applying his running 2. It's probably what he's going to be looking to do, but then he's also aware that it's dangerous to get it ducked, and so you have to try and get a read on whether or not he's going to do a mid or whether or not he's actually going to do the running 2. But if you manage to duck and while standing launch punish the running 2 once, that's really going to deter Claudio from continually applying this move, and so it's very important to try and do it at least once. The potential reward of ducking it is big enough compared to the potential risk of eating one of these mids that I think that's actually it's not a terrible idea to try and duck it when you see him start running, and then you'll have to try and like get a read. Basically, there are 2 other mids that are common when Claudio runs in like this that he wants to mix his running 2 up with. One is Ford 3, which is one of Claudio's best moves that also does too much damage and has like too many properties in my opinion. It's like a low crush, long range, homing, safe mid spin move and corkscrew. Like it does absolutely everything for him. The fact that Claudio doesn't have a running 3 or a forward 3 means that he can be in his running animation, he can be in the middle of a dash, he can do whatever he wants, and as long as he is pressing the forward button, pressing 3, he always gets this move, right? So he can be running like this and get forward 3, he can be dashing and get forward 3, he can be standing still and get forward 3. So it's very easy for people who might not be super good at taking inputs and stuff to apply this as a mid in any kind of situation to mix up the running 2. This move is safe, which I think is very, very good for Claudio. It's -9. Claudio has a lot of moves that leave him at exactly -9, so he is safe but at a significant disadvantage, and this is one of them. When you block this move, be aware that you are at +9 relative to Claudio. Claudio is at -9, I should probably say is the more correct way to say it. So you can do stuff, but it's long range, it's hard to punish properly. Every time you whiff when you try and punish Claudio, the hopkick is going to happen right away, so be careful. And yeah, that's the other like mid option he has here. And then the last option is that a lot of the time Claudio actually just runs in and hopkicks. To mix up the running 2. When he feels like you're actually going to try and run, when you're respecting the running 2 too much and he really feels confident that you're going to try and go under it, he'll run in and he'll hop kick like that. And that happens fast enough that it's actually difficult to deal with, in my opinion. If your opponent is applying that kind of a mix-up where he's going between the running 2 and the hop kick, I think stand blocking is a very good option because, okay, you stand block the running 2, you're at -7, that's not very good. But at least you're not eating guaranteed damage. All you have to do is eat a mix-up. But if you do block a hop kick, you can get a block punish, which is very good. Okay. So yeah, I mean, you can tell that I don't have like a straight answer for how to just deal with this aspect of Claudio's design because it's good, right? And it's going to work, and it's going to be a lot of coming down to like you reading the opponent stuff. But you want to duck this if you can, and then you need to be careful about a couple of mids, mainly forward 3, forward 4, and if your opponent is playing risky, is playing balls to the wall, even the hop kick. But at least once during the game, if you are able to apply a proper while standing punish after ducking, running 2, that's going to really make your opponent hesitate a lot more. And I feel like Claudio is a character that becomes more dangerous the more confidence he's playing with. And so if you can sort of shake that rhythm up a little bit, it's really going to benefit you. And then the last little package, the third chapter in what generic Claudios do online, is going to be Starburst. So let's apply Starburst to Claudio here. Basically, I mean, you probably know this, but really quickly, I'll just mention Claudio has a bunch of moves that when he hits with them, not when he gets blocked, but when he hits with them, he gets this blue fire on one of his hands, and that then allows him to extend a couple of his strings with an extra hit, and that extra hit he gets in those strings is usually very, very powerful and very beneficial for Claudio. So when he has Starburst, you need to be careful, and you need to be aware of the options that he has, because as soon as Claudio gets Starburst, most of the time if you're playing especially on a lower rank, he's going to look to use his Starburst more or less right away within like the next 3 moves, right? And there are a couple of options here that are very, very dangerous. So first thing you need to know is that when your opponent has Starburst, you need to start looking out for the Starburst moves. And so you need to be like in 2 modes of thinking. You know, does Claudio have Starburst? No. Then you're mainly looking out for the hopkick and stuff like that. But when he does, then you shift into this sort of other mode where you're looking for the Starburst moves. I should mention first the ways that Claudio likes to try and get his Starburst. The main option really is that Claudio has this very powerful hopkick, and so let's see if I can remember how to do a combo with Claudio. It's been a very long time. Okay, that's the standard combo. So basically what I'm trying to show there is that no matter like what combo you do with Claudio, you're usually going to end in either a running 2 or a back 4-2, and these moves both give Starburst. So the main way he gets Starburst is he basically launches you with his hopkick, or maybe like a down back 3, and then his combo enter gives him the Starburst. There's one other sort of exploitative move that you see a lot that Claudio tries to collect the Starburst with, and this is very important. If you don't know how to deal with this move already, this is probably going to be really helpful for you. 4-2-2. 4-2-2 is a very common abused move with Claudio. It gives Starburst. It is one of his block punishers, I think, at 12 frames. So if you know he punishes with it, then you're just gonna have to give him Starburst. But if he's just applying this and you block it, this move is actually very, very punishable. It is minus, I think, something crazy like 27 on block. This is minus 27 on block. But as you can see, after Claudio hits with this move, he jumps back really far. If we set my opponent to guard here, you can see that okay, that didn't work. All guard and all guard, this should work. Okay, you can see that he jumps back really far even when he gets blocked. This has nothing to do with on hit or anything. Look at this amount of distance. This is like several like backdashes worth of distance he creates with this move. But he is at minus 27, so almost exactly half a second, right? Meaning that like all characters in the game can block punish this for quite a bit of damage. Some characters will struggle to do a lot of damage. Some characters will actually comfortably launch this. It completely depends on what options your character has. I saw a great video a while ago where a Tekken player showed like with every character the best options for block punishing this. So you know, search for that on YouTube and you'll find it right away. But let's just show it once here. I don't know what would be a good option with Claudio, but I'll try and get it imaginative. So let's record like that. Do a 4-2-2, and then see if we can get a maybe like 4-4-4 is like a long range mid with Claudio. So let's try and do that for the block punish. Okay, so that was probably just not fast enough. Yeah, so it says punish right there. So that's a 20 damage option you could do there. I'm pretty sure you could even get running 2 with Claudio. I'm pretty sure you just have to be very fast. But find out what your best option is for block punishing 4-4-2 is very important, because it's if you don't, then he can just do this. He's completely safe. He can just keep on fishing, and as soon as he gets a hit, because this is a natural combo, he gets Starburst for free, and you don't want to give him Starburst. That's an important thing. It's very, very hard. He's going to get it eventually, but don't get hit by this move, and if you do block it, try and block punish it for as much damage as possible. Okay, so the 2 ways he gets into Starburst is mainly, you know, he combos into an ender with Starburst, or he does 442. There are other options like, you know, back to and other moves he uses, but these are the most common ones, especially on lower ranks, right? And then when he has Starburst, a sort of generic poor quality Claudio is going to try and apply it on two moves. There are basically two moves they try and do. He has a couple more options, but there are two things generally that they do. The first one I'll talk about is forward 1+2, 1+2. It's a very powerful mid launcher. You can see there I didn't even convert to wall damage and I got 76, so it's a huge chunk of damage. It looks like this, and it puts you in this weird breakdancing stun. You're not considered spun in that state, which is important to note, so he can spin again like that, which is why he gets so much damage for this combo. Interesting thing about this move is that it is completely safe. It's another one of those moves that gives Claudio -9, same as his forward 3, so you can never block punish it. So basically when Claudio has Starburst, he can just do this, and if he randomly gets the hit, he's going to deal so much damage that he usually gets the round. If he gets blocked, he's at no risk whatsoever. But another thing he can do, if he's a little bit smarter, obviously, is he'll try and like move around and create an opportunity to hit with this move. Like maybe he'll try and whiff punish with it, and then that's going to lead to huge damage. So you got to be careful with that. Don't try and like block punish it and like mess that up, because half the time, you know, it just puts him in a favorable position. He is at -9, so he is safe, and if you whiff, you know, you get hop kicked again. It's very common against Claudio that you try and like come in on him with something, and then you're just out of range. Like you're like right there. No, you're like right here, yeah, just that outside tip range for your moves, and then he always has that hop kick locked and loaded, right? And then the other move, and really the most sort of annoying move to run into against online Claudios, is Starburst down 2-2. Starburst down 2-2 is almost like an unseeable low launcher, but not really. You probably know this, but I'll say it anyway because it's important. Down 2-2, well, first of all, like, it launches, right? So he gets good damage if he's able to get you with the down 2-2. It high crushes, obviously, so it's a very fast, very powerful low, and it gives him a launcher. But these two hits right here are not necessarily a natural combo. If you get counter hit by the move, then he's going to launch you every time. But if he doesn't, what can happen is actually... Okay, let's see if we can show this. Let's do this actually. Let's get my opponent to block it. It's probably a good option. Let's have him second option all guard. See if this works. Yeah, perfect. So what I'm trying to show here, right, is that I'm hitting with the first hit, and then my opponent is blocking the second hit. Basically what this means is that it's not a natural combo on normal hit, so even if you can't react to the first hit and block that, it's too fast for that, it's basically too hard, you can react to the first hit of the string and then block the second hit of the string. This is only going to launch you on normal hit if you just keep on standing up and you don't do anything, you don't try and block the second hit. That's when he gets the launch. Now this is still fast enough that this is kind of hard to do online, but you need to be aware that it's an option that you have. Yeah, when you're playing against like a generic bad Claudio and he has a Starburst, then he's looking to do this move a lot of the time, and so keep him honest with mids, try and go over with a hop kick of your own. You know, you have a lot of options to deal with big lows as usual. But another thing I want to mention here is, like, look at this. Like, I do this, I do like a simple combo for a huge damage, and then I end with an ender that gives me Starburst again, and that's sort of the problem with Claudio. Like, he'll get Starburst, and then he'll use the Starburst to do something very, very strong, but then while doing that he also gets another Starburst, so he gets this like chain, which is very dangerous, right? And I think actually I've talked about, like in my Claudio tutorial, how I think Starburst is a very interesting and fun and great idea, like having a character charge up with like a glowing hand and then get a couple of really powerful options that they can spend like once, like a token. I just feel like it's a little bit too easy for Claudio to get Starburst, and once you know, he's gotten it once, it's too easy for him to keep on getting it. And I would have preferred that if he actually needed to take some really, really big risks to get his Starburst. I think that would have been cooler, but yeah, it's not a knock on the character. I think his character design is kind of fine. It's just really annoying to run into for me. But yeah, so in summary, we talked about three different things that I want you to keep in mind, like three little sections of Claudio. He's going to be mixing up lows with hop kicks. He's going to do hop kicks a lot of the time for like no reason, and because he keeps gambling, and it's such a low risk option compared to other hop kicks that a lot of the time he just ends up winning. So the main thing is you need to block punish the hop kick. You need to look out for the sidestep 4 slash hop kick mix up out of sidestep. Down back 3 is another big low. It is reactable, and it is especially common and especially dangerous at the beginning of the round. He's going to look for it there a lot. Second thing was when he's in a spaced up position, he's usually trying to apply running 2. It needs to be ducked, but when you start ducking it, he also has 3 powerful mid options: full forward 4, forward 3, and hop kick. The only punishable option is the hop kick. The other 2 options, not really. And so here you need to try and be confident in your reads, but it is worth trying to duck the running 2 because it's such an important thing to do at least once in a game, in my opinion. And then the last thing is Claudio has Starburst. He usually gets it after comboing or after hitting with 4-2-2. And once he has the Starburst, you really need to look out for this move. If you get hit by the first hit, you can still block the second hit, which is important. The other option he'll use is this mid, mid safe launcher, which does insane amounts of damage. And that's basically it. He has, a very commonly used command throw like that you need to 1+2 break. You see this a lot, especially after running 2, which gives you +3 on block. So that's another thing to keep in mind. This is 3+4 for Claudio, which is kind of a unique input. But there you go. And yeah, that's basically it. I mean, everything else is sort of icing on the cake, unless you're playing against a player who really knows what they're doing, because then they're going to start using a lot of his other options, But yeah, I think that's going to conclude my little video on generic tips for how to beat generic Claudios. I hope it was useful. I hope you start feeling a little bit more confident in the matchup with this information. Thank you so much for watching as always, and let me know what you would like me to do next. I do read all of my comments. Thank you so very much, and I'll see you next time.